Salutations everyone and welcome to What Mattered, the show where I tell you what mattered in the news this week. James Cameron has postponed Avatar 2 to 2017. My guess why? There wasn't a Fern Gully 2, Pocahontas 2, or Dances with Wolves 2 to rip off of. This is what mattered. It looks like CW's The Arrow will be getting possibly another spin-off. We already have The Flash, which has been renewed for a second season. The Arrow's been renewed for a fourth season. And there are initial talks of another spin-off, which Smart Money is pointing to The Atom, played by Brandon Routh, many of you know as Superman from Superman Returns, but he's been playing Ray Palmer on The Arrow for quite a few episodes now, and it's got some pretty good character development. Not in the exact same vein of The Flash, which was set up to be a spinoff from the beginning, but very, very interesting. I think Brandon Routh does a good job as Ray Palmer. They've shown that they can do two really good shows at once. And it'd be really interesting to see The Atom in the spotlight getting his own television show. A lot of different ways that they could go in there, as opposed to other superhero based TV shows. When you got a guy shrinking down really, really small, being really, really smart, doing really, really cool stuff. That could be pretty interesting. In other TV news, Late Night with Stephen Colbert has a set date of when it's going to premiere, as does Letterman for his last show. May 20th, Letterman will be hanging it up with his very last show, as speculated, and also Colbert will be taking over September 8th. So we have 9 months to wait until Colbert can be back on the airwaves after leaving in December, which is a super long wait, but it's what was expected. Unfortunately, Letterman will take his leave when he wants in May, and then you have all of summer to wait, and then once the TV season starts kicking up again, they will launch Late Night with Stephen Colbert. So it's sad, but hopefully it'll all be worth it in the end. And Nintendo had a lot of news for us this week, especially regarding their new handheld console, the new 3DS, and when Western audiences can be expected to get it. It will be released on February 13th at a price range of $200. There are some new custom new 3DS models, including a Majora's Mask, which, and it's gone. It's sold out. And as well as a Xenoblade Chronicles, I believe. It's just like your regular 3DS, except, or I think it's the size as the XL. I don't think the small new 3DS is coming here yet, which is really weird. Also doesn't come with an AC adapter, which is weird. The changes to the console, for those of you who might know, has built-in Amiibo functionality, so you won't need an add-on, which still we haven't seen anything of, or as we know of, any 3DS Amiibo functionality announced so far with any of their games, but it's built in, so when that feature comes out, you don't have to buy anything additional. Faster processor, more memory, better 3D head tracking, so it doesn't matter what angle you're looking at your 3DS, you will get your 3D in case you still like 3D, like it's, I don't know, 2010 or something. And it also will be able to play some games that the old 3DS models can't play, including, I think the only ones that they've announced right now is Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS. I guess just that the old one just can't handle it because this one has faster processor and more memory and such. So those are basically, oh, and the C-stick analog nub, like right above your buttons there. So I mean, for those who really, really love Nintendo and want to own all of the consoles and every iteration of that console, and people who want to play Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS and just are looking for an upgrade, this might be for you. I don't think it's enough to warrant buying a new handheld system, especially since there's really only one announced game that will only work for it. So personally for me, it's not worth the buy, but if you're looking for an upgrade, if it's been a while for you, or if you just want it, it'll be $200. I believe you can trade in your old 3DS for $100 towards that, but I think that will depend on who you're going with. I think I got that number from GameStop. But anyways, that is not all Nintendo had for us this week. Nintendo also announced 3 select Wii titles that will be coming to the Nintendo eShop, including Mario Galaxy 2, Punch-Out!, and the super duper hard to find expensive Metroid Prime trilogy. So now if you got your eShop, you don't have to worry about finding a copy of that rare game and all 3 Metroid Prime games. It's all right there, and I believe it's on sale the first week of its release, or the first week after its release. I'm not too sure, but get on that in case any of that pickles your fancy. The 4th wave of Amiibos has been announced for the Super Smash Bros. Amiibo line, starting with Robin, Lucina, Charizard, Ness, Wario, and Pac-Man. That will be the entire 4th wave of Smash Bros. Amiibos. No word on if any of those are exclusives, since we have 3 exclusives in the Wave 3, which will be hitting, I believe, in the first week of February. Also announced were some new Super Mario Bros. Amiibos, in the vein of the new Super Mario Bros. Game. So they look a little different than the Brawl one, the Smash Bros. Ones. And we'll hold the Amiibos shown here, all of the ones that we've already gotten from the Smash Brothers, except for Toad, which will be compatible with Captain Toad. Now, these Amiibos are only different in their figurines. They will act the same across all platforms. So if you already have your Mario Amiibo, this one will act the same way, or with Luigi or Bowser or Peach or Yoshi. They don't change anything. It's not anything additional. It's just a different figurine. For those collectors out there, which of course, as we know, there are plenty of. They've sold, I think, 2.4 million Amiibos so far. So almost a 2-to-1 ratio of the actual Smash Brothers game. And pretty awesome. I got 7 of them right here myself. And so the only new one is Toad, and that will be compatible with Captain Toad. So yeah, it's just different looking ones. They work the same way. You don't need them for additional content. If you already have one version of Yoshi, it'll be the same. So, it's out there for people that want it. And as always, Toad, which is pretty popular right now. You're the Toad! And in I Told You So news, Microsoft, their, temporary price drop on the console to the $349, jumped back up to $400 in January, and starting yesterday, it's back down to $349. I mean, we kind of had this was gonna happen. I saw this coming when they announced the first cut in the first place, because they need to stay competitive. They were the best-selling console in December. It was also Wii U's biggest month ever, and I'm sure PS4 sold like crazy anyways, but Xbox One was the king of December and the holiday season as a whole. So when Microsoft sees these numbers, it's kind of hard to keep that price back up to when it was losing, as opposed to at $349 when it was winning. Not to say that I think that Xbox One is going to completely dominate every month from now on, but I think it'll become more competitive and close the gap between the PS4 even more so when the upcoming titles for this year sort of start to separate the games. As I've said before, there's no reason right now to own both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Most of the games are available on your older generation of consoles, and there's just not really a whole lot that separates the two until I think this year, when you got your Halo 5 Guardians, and you have your Uncharted 4, and your console exclusives finally going to separate these two apart. Then probably by fall time, you'll finally have a reason to own both, but you don't need them right now. But if you want to get that $349 Xbox One, and if you missed it out and you were like, I'm not going to buy it because it's $50 more, you can get it now. So yeah, that's Microsoft for you. Pretty predictable, but I guess good for the people. And as mentioned before, James Cameron has delayed Avatar 2, as well as the other 2 sequels. He is shooting 3 at one time. Will be pushed back to sometime in 2017. Its original release date was Christmas 2016, or Christmas time 2016, and that was the date that he had set for himself years ago. And it's interesting because I wonder if the boat has left for an Avatar sequel. Do people want it anymore? Because for those of you who don't remember, the first Avatar, which grossed like $2.9 billion, highest grossing movie of all time, came out in 2009. And by the time the sequel comes out, that'll be 9 years later. And I'm not talking about like a gap of unplanned sequel, like a Terminator or a Tron, where it takes a long time and they weren't really planned to be so far apart. this was planned to be 8 years apart, but now it's going to be 9 years apart, and I wonder if people care anymore. The first Avatar was looked pretty, got 2 Academy Awards for looking good, won the best drama for the Golden Globe for some reason. Wasn't that great of a film. It had some groundbreaking technology, and you had some, pretty decent performances. A storyline that we've all seen a dozen times before, but obviously people liked it. It's the highest grossing movie of all time still, but I still wonder, even though it's a sequel, which always do better than the originals, will this still be in demand? Will people still want to see an Avatar 2? Probably, but it's interesting. They're all going to be shot at the same time, and there's no announcements on like when the second or when the third and fourth film will be coming out afterwards, but it's going to be delayed at least a year. And in other sad news for moviegoers, Tom Hardy has dropped out of the Suicide Squad movie since his movie The Revenant is going over schedule and he won't have time to do the Suicide Squad. So that is depressing on a couple of fronts. You have a movie going over schedule, conflicting with other stuff that he'd previously planned. He was the best actor easily attached to this project. David Ayer, great director, great producer, but with DC still unproven in the cinematic world, this might have been something that they need, or something that could easily kill them if it flops. Especially since this is one supposed to be coming out relatively soon. It's shooting in mid-April, and who's going to be carrying the flag of Rick? It looks like going to be Jake Gyllenhaal might be stepping in to play Rick Flag, the leader of the Suicide Squad. Good actor. I don't know if he's as good of Rick Flag as Tom Hardy would have been, but if you all saw Nightcrawler or David Ayer's End of Watch, very, very good actor, and could play a role of Rick Flag, but we all kind of wanted to see Tom Hardy in a comic book movie again, didn't we? Yes, we did. Well, sad to see this happen, but it still has, other unproven elements to the film, so we'll have to see what comes of all of that. Any Hootie and the Blowfish, ladies and gentlemen, that is what mattered this week. If you'd like to know what matters in the future, you can hit the subscribe button, and all the links to the stories will be in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.